The rain-slicked pavement reflected the neon glow of New York City as Elena Harper stumbled through the alley, clutching her side, blood seeping through her fingers. At 24, she was no stranger to trouble, but tonight's bar fight had spiraled beyond her control. A knife had found her in the chaos. Her vision blurred, but a figure emerged from the storm, a woman in a white coat, her voice steady. "Stay with me, you're going to be okay." That night, Dr. Vivian Cole, a 28-year-old trauma surgeon, saved Elena's life in the ER of Bellevue Hospital. Elena woke to Vivian's green eyes, sharp yet kind, and a fleeting touch that felt like a lifeline. It was a moment Elena would carry for years, a spark she couldn't name, a gratitude too deep for words. 4 years later, Elena, now 28, sat in a sleek Manhattan boardroom, her heart pounding as she prepared to pitch her startup's mental health app to a panel of investors. She'd clawed her way out of a rough past: foster homes, street fights, and a stubborn will to prove herself. Her app, designed to connect marginalized communities to affordable therapy, was her redemption. She adjusted her blazer, nerves electric, when the door swung open, and in walked Dr. Vivian Cole, now 32, chief of surgery and a venture capitalist on the panel. Elena's breath caught. Those green eyes hadn't changed, but the warmth was gone, replaced by a cold, appraising stare. "Ladies and gentlemen," Vivian began, her voice slicing through the room, "Ms. Harper's proposal is ambitious, but ambition without substance is just noise." The words landed like a slap. Elena's face burned as Vivian dismantled her pitch: data insufficient, scalability questionable, emotional appeal overdone. The room stayed silent, but Elena felt the weight of every eye. This wasn't just critique, it was personal. The woman who'd once held her life in her hands now tore her dreams apart. As the meeting ended, Elena lingered, her pride warring with her need for answers. "Dr. Cole," she said, catching Vivian in the hallway, "why did you go so hard in there?" Vivian's lips curled into a faint, unreadable smile. "Business isn't personal, Ms. Harper. You do well to remember that." But her eyes lingered a moment too long, betraying something: regret, perhaps, or something deeper. Elena's mind spun back to that rainy night. After the surgery, she'd spent days in the hospital, stealing glances at Vivian during rounds. They'd talk small, tentative conversations about music, dreams, the city's pulse. Elena had felt something bloom, a fragile hope that maybe Vivian felt it too. But then Elena was discharged, and life pulled them apart. She tried to find Vivian again, but the doctor had moved hospitals, leaving only a memory. Now, standing in the sterile corporate hallway, Elena sensed the same pull, but it was tangled with hurt. Why had Vivian mocked her? Was it disdain for Elena's rough edges, her lack of polish? Or was it something else, something tied to that night they'd never spoken of again? Over the next week, Elena threw herself into revising her pitch. She worked late into the night, fueled by coffee and defiance. Her team, her found family of coders and dreamers, rallied around her. "You've got this, Elle," said Marcus, her lead developer, his voice steady. "Show them who you are." But Vivian's words echoed, ambition without substance. Elena couldn't shake the sting, nor the memory of Vivian's hands, steady and sure, stitching her back together. She dug into Vivian's background, desperate for leverage. "Dear." Vivian Cole was a legend, youngest chief of surgery at New York Presbyterian, a trailblazer in trauma care, and now a venture capitalist backing healthcare startups. But there were whispers. Ruthless in boardrooms, guarded in life, a woman who kept everyone at arm's length. Elena wondered what had hardened her, what had turned the doctor who'd saved her into this icy critic. Their paths crossed again at a charity gala, a glittering affair in Midtown. Elena, in a borrowed dress, felt out of place among the elite. Vivian, in a tailored navy gown, moved through the crowd like she owned it. Their eyes met across the room, and Elena's heart traitorously skipped. She approached, steeling herself. "Dr. Cole, can we talk?" Vivian raised an eyebrow, sipping her champagne. "About your pitch? I stand by my assessment." "It's not just the pitch," Elena said, voice low. "It's you. That night in the ER you saved me. And now you act like I'm nothing." Vivian's expression flickered, a crack in her armor. "You don't know me, Elena," she said softly, but there was an edge, a warning. Before Elena could press further, Vivian turned away, disappearing into the crowd. Elena's chest ached, but she refused to let it break her. She poured her energy into her app, refining the data, tightening the pitch. She'd show Vivian and herself she wasn't just noise. But late at night, alone in her tiny Brooklyn apartment, she couldn't escape the questions. Why did Vivian's dismissal hurt so much? Why did her memory still feel like a touchstone? A month later, Elena got a second chance, a follow-up meeting with the investors. She walked in, heart steady, slides polished. Vivian was there, her gaze unreadable. Elena began, her voice clear, weaving her story into the data. Her own struggles, the foster kids she'd met, the lives her app could change. The room leaned in, captivated. Even Vivian's pen paused. Afterward, Vivian approached, her expression softer. "Better," she said simply. "But you're still taking risks with the financials." Elena nodded, holding her gaze. "I'll fix it. But I need to know, why do you push me so hard?" Vivian hesitated, then said, "Because you're worth pushing." The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. For the first time, Elena saw the Vivian from that rainy night, fierce, caring, human. As they parted, Elena felt a shift. This wasn't over, not the pitch, not their story. Something was unfolding, something worth fighting for, even if it hurt. Elena's days blurred into a rhythm of code, coffee, and quiet obsession. She couldn't stop thinking about Vivian's words. "You're worth pushing." They echoed in her mind, both a challenge and a tether to that night 4 years ago when Vivian's steady hands had pulled her back from the edge. But the Vivian in the boardroom, sharp, distant, felt like a stranger. Elena needed to understand the gap between them, the why behind the coldness. She dove deeper into her app, determined to prove herself. Her team sensed her fire. "You're killing it, Elle," Marcus said one night, tossing her a Red Bull as they debugged code in their cramped startup office. But Elena's focus wasn't just on the app. She was chasing Vivian's approval, though she hated admitting it. Late at night, she scoured LinkedIn, medical journals, even old hospital records, piecing together Vivian's life. A pattern emerged: brilliance paired with isolation. Vivian had no public social media, no family mentioned, just accolades and a reputation for being untouchable. One evening, Elena found herself at a medical conference in Soho, hoping to network with potential backers. She hadn't expected Vivian to be a keynote speaker. On stage, Vivian was magnetic, confident, articulate, her green eyes scanning the crowd. She spoke about trauma care innovation, her passion palpable. Elena felt that old spark flare, the one from the hospital room. When their eyes met during the Q&A, Vivian faltered for a split second, then recovered, answering with her usual precision. Afterward, Elena lingered near the stage, her heart racing. Vivian approached, her expression guarded. "Miss Harper, are you stalking me now?" Her tone was light, but her eyes searched Elena's face. "I'm here for work," Elena said, holding her ground. "But I won't lie, I wanted to see you." Vivian's lips twitched, almost a smile. "Persistent, aren't you?" "Learned it from you," Elena shot back. "You didn't give up on me that night. Why give up on me now?" Vivian's face tightened, and she glanced away. "That night was my job. This business, your app, it's different." "Is it?" Elena stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Because it feels like you're punishing me for something I don't understand." For a moment, Vivian looked like she might answer. Then she shook her head. "You should focus on your pitch, not me." She walked away, leaving Elena with a knot in her chest. The rejection stung, but it fueled her. Elena threw herself into her work, refining her app's algorithm to better serve queer and marginalized users. She interviewed therapists, gathered testimonials, and bolstered her data. Her team noticed the change. Her drive was relentless, almost reckless. "Slow down, Elle," Marcus warned. "You're burning out." "I can't," she said, eyes fixed on her laptop. "Not until I get this right." Weeks later, a breakthrough came. An invitation to present at a major tech summit in San Francisco. It was a chance to secure funding and visibility. Elena's team erupted in cheers, but her thoughts went to Vivian. Would she be there? Would she see Elena's progress? The summit was a whirlwind of startups and venture capitalists. Elena's pitch was flawless, data-driven, heartfelt, undeniable. The crowd applauded, and investors swarmed her afterward. But her eyes kept searching for Vivian. She spotted her near the back, watching, her expression unreadable. When their gazes locked, Vivian gave a small nod, then turned away. That night, at the summit's after-party, Elena found Vivian alone on a balcony overlooking the bay. The city lights shimmered and the air was cool. Elena took a breath and approached. "You saw my pitch." "I did," Vivian said, not turning. "It was impressive." "Then why do you keep pushing me away?" Elena's voice cracked, betraying her frustration. "I'm not the same kid you saved. I'm trying to build something real." Vivian finally faced her, her eyes softer but still guarded. "I know you are. And I'm hard on you because I see your potential. But you don't know what you're asking of me." "Then tell me," Elena pleaded. "Let me in." Vivian's jaw tightened, and for a moment, Elena thought she'd walk away again. But then Vivian spoke, her voice low. "That night in the ER, I wasn't just doing my job. I saw you really saw you. And it scared me." Elena's heart stopped. "Scared you? Why?" "Because I don't let people in," Vivian said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I can't afford to. Not after everything." Elena wanted to press, to demand answers, but the rawness in Vivian's voice stopped her. Instead, she reached out, her hand brushing Vivian's. The touch was electric, grounding them both. Vivian didn't pull away. They stood in silence, the city humming below. Elena felt the weight of their shared history, the unspoken pull that had always been there. She didn't know what Vivian was hiding, but she knew one thing. She wasn't giving up. Back in New York, Elena's app gained traction. Investors were calling and her team was growing. But her thoughts kept drifting to Vivianto, that moment on the balcony, to the vulnerability she'd glimpsed. She sent Vivian an email, professional but personal. "Thank you for pushing me. I'm not done yet." "Neither are we." Vivian's reply was brief. "Keep proving me wrong, Elena." It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep Elena hoping. Elena's app was gaining momentum, but her heart was a battlefield. Vivian's words on the balcony, "I saw you, and it scared me," haunted her. What had Vivian meant? What was she hiding? Elena threw herself into work to drown the questions, but they lingered, sharp and insistent. Her team noticed her distraction. "You okay, Elle?" Marcus asked one morning, catching her staring at her phone, Vivian's email still open. "Yeah," she lied, forcing a smile. "Just tired." The truth was, Elena was chasing more than funding now. She was chasing Vivian, trying to unravel the enigma of the woman who'd saved her life, and now held her heart hostage. She started attending more industry events, hoping for another chance encounter. Each time she saw Vivian across a conference room, at a panel discussion, the air crackled with unspoken tension. Vivian was always professional, her critiques of Elena's work sharp but fair, yet her eyes betrayed a flicker of something more. One rainy afternoon, Elena found herself at a small bookstore event in Brooklyn, a panel on healthcare equity. Vivian was a speaker, her presence commanding as she discussed disparities in care for queer communities. Elena sat in the back, her heart swelling with pride and frustration. Vivian was brilliant, passionate, but so damn guarded. After the talk, Elena approached, clutching a coffee she didn't need. "Nice talk," Elena said, her voice steady despite the nerves. "You actually sounded human up there." Vivian's lips quirked. "Careful, Miss Harper. I might take that as a compliment." "It was," Elena said, stepping closer. "But I'm still trying to figure you out. Why do you keep me at arm's length?" Vivian's smile faded, and she glanced around, as if checking for eavesdroppers. "This isn't the place," she said quietly. "Meet me tomorrow. My office. 7 p.m. Elena's pulse raced. An invitation, finally. She nodded, afraid to say more and break the moment. The next evening, Elena arrived at New York Presbyterian, her stomach in knots. Vivian's office was a study in contrast. Sterile medical texts lined the shelves, but a small potted plant and a framed photo of a sunset softened the space. Vivian sat behind her desk, her white coat draped over the chair, her blouse sleeves rolled up. She looked tired, human. "Sit," Vivian said, gesturing to a chair. "You want answers. I'll try to give them." Elena sat, her hands clasped tightly. "Why do you push me so hard? Why act like that night never happened?" Vivian leaned back, her gaze distant. "That night, you weren't just a patient. You were this force-brave, broken, alive. I hadn't felt that kind of connection in years. But I'm not built for it, Elena. I've lost too much. Elena frowned. Lost what? Vivian hesitated, then spoke, her voice low. My partner, Sarah. 5 years ago. She was a nurse, worked with me. A car accident took her. I was in the ER when they brought her in. I couldn't save her. Elena's breath caught. The pain in Vivian's voice was raw, unguarded. I'm so sorry, she whispered. Vivian shook her head. I closed off after that. Threw myself into work. It's easier to keep people out than to lose them. But you. She looked at Elena, her eyes softening. You keep getting in. Elena's heart pounded. I'm not going anywhere, Vivian. I'm not her. Vivian's laugh was bitter. That's what scares me. You're fearless, Elena. And I'm not. They sat in silence, the weight of Vivian's confession settling between them. Elena wanted to reach out to bridge the gap, but she sensed Vivian needed space. Thank you for telling me, she said finally. I'll stop pushing. For now. Vivian's smile was small but genuine. Don't stop entirely. You're good at it. Over the next few weeks, their interactions shifted. Vivian's critiques of Elena's app softened, laced with encouragement. They exchanged emails, then texts, small, cautious steps toward something more. Elena felt the pull growing, but she was careful, respecting Vivian's boundaries. One night, Elena invited Vivian to her team's launch party for the app's beta release. It was a small event in a Brooklyn loft, string lights casting a warm glow. Vivian arrived, out of place in her tailored blazer among the startup crowd, but her presence steadied Elena. They stood together, watching the team celebrate. You did this, Vivian said, her voice quiet. I'm proud of you. Elena's throat tightened. Means a lot coming from you. Their hands brushed, and this time Vivian didn't pull away. The moment felt fragile, like it could shatter, but Elena held on to it, her heart daring to hope. As the night ended, Vivian offered to walk Elena home. The city was alive, its energy mirroring Elena's. They talked about the app, their dreams, the past. At Elena's doorstep, Vivian paused, her eyes searching Elena's face. I don't know if I'm ready, Vivian said softly. But I want to try. Elena smiled, her heart full. That's enough for now. Elena woke each morning with Vivian's words in her mind. I want to try. They were a promise, a crack in the wall Vivian had built around herself. But Elena knew trust was fragile, especially for someone who'd lost so much. She treaded carefully, balancing her growing feelings with the respect Vivian deserved. Their connection deepened through small moments. Coffee dates turned into long walks through Central Park, where they shared stories of their pasts. Elena spoke of foster homes, of learning to fight to survive. Vivian shared glimpses of her life before Sarah's death, her ambition, her love of jazz, her fear of letting go. Each conversation felt like a step closer, but Elena sensed Vivian holding back, as if testing the waters before diving in. One evening they met at a jazz club in Harlem, the music sultry and warm. Vivian, in a deep green dress, looked at ease for the first time. Elena couldn't take her eyes off her. As the saxophone wailed, Vivian leaned close, her breath warm against Elena's ear. This reminds me of us, beautiful, but complicated. Elena grinned. Complicated's my specialty. Vivian laughed, a sound so rare it felt like a gift. They danced, tentative at first, then closer, their bodies finding a rhythm. Elena felt Vivian's walls softening, her guard lowering. When the song ended, Vivian's hand lingered on Elena's waist, her eyes searching. You make me want to be brave, she whispered. Elena's heart soared, but she didn't push. I'm here, Viv. Whenever you're ready. Their relationship grew, but so did the challenges. Elena's app was thriving, but the pressure was relentless. Investors demanded faster growth, and her team was stretched thin. Vivian, too, was consumed by her work-long surgeries, board meetings, and her venture capital role. Their schedules clashed and doubts crept in. Was Vivian ready for this? Was Elena? One night after a grueling day, Elena found herself at Vivian's apartment, a sleek space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson. Vivian was pacing, her phone buzzing with hospital alerts. I can't do this right now, Vivian snapped, her voice sharp. I have a patient in critical condition. Elena's chest tightened. I'm not asking you to choose, Viv. I just want to be here for you. Vivian stopped, her shoulders sagging. I'm sorry. I'm not used to us. Elena crossed the room, taking Vivian's hands. We're figuring it out together. Okay. Vivian nodded, her eyes glistening. They sat on the couch, the city's hum a backdrop to their silence. Elena realized then how much they were both risking her heart, Vivian's walls, their fragile hope. The next hurdle came unexpectedly. Elena's app faced a data breach, a glitch exposing user information. The news hit hard, threatening her funding and her reputation. She worked around the clock to fix it, her team scrambling to patch the system. Vivian offered support, sending late-night texts. You've got this. Call if you need me. But Elena felt the weight of proving herself, not just to investors but to Vivian. At a crisis meeting with her team, Elena's phone buzzed. It was Vivian, asking her to meet at the hospital. Exhausted but curious, Elena went. She found Vivian in the ER, her face drawn. One of my patients, a kid from a foster home, reminded me of you, Vivian said. She's fighting just like you did. Elena's throat tightened. Is she okay? She will be, Vivian said, her voice soft. I wanted you to know. You're not alone in this fight. The words hit Elena hard. She'd spent years feeling like she had to prove her worth, but Vivian really saw her. They stood in the quieter hallway, the chaos of the hospital fading. Elena reached for Vivian's hand, and this time Vivian squeezed back. As the weeks passed, Elena fixed the breach, her app stronger for it. She and Vivian grew closer, their bond tested but enduring. They shared quiet moments, cooking dinner, watching old movies, stealing kisses in the rain. But Elena sensed Vivian's fear lingering, a shadow of her past. One night at a fundraiser for Elena's app, Vivian surprised her. She took the stage, her presence commanding, and spoke about Elena's work, its impact, its heart. This woman, Vivian said, her eyes finding Elena's, is changing lives. She's fearless, and she's taught me what courage looks like. The crowd applauded, but Elena only saw Vivian. After they slipped outside, the city alive around them. You didn't have to do that, Elena said, her voice thick. I wanted to, Vivian said. You deserve it. Elena stepped closer, her heart full. I love you, Viv. Vivian froze, her eyes wide. For a moment, Elena feared she'd gone too far. But then Vivian smiled, tears in her eyes. I love you too. They kissed, the world falling away. It was a promise, a beginning sealed under the New York sky. Elena and Vivian's love was a quiet revolution, a slow burn that lit up their lives. They navigated their days with a new rhythm, shared mornings, late-night talks, hands finding each other in crowded rooms. But love, Elena learned, wasn't a cure for life's chaos. It was a partner in it. Elena's app soared, securing major funding and expanding to new cities. But success brought scrutiny. A rival startup accused her of stealing their code, a claim that threatened her reputation and her team's morale. Elena fought back, gathering evidence, meeting with lawyers, her stress mounting. Vivian was her anchor, offering quiet strength. You're tougher than this, Vivian said one night, massaging Elena's shoulders as she pored over legal documents. You've survived worse. Elena leaned into her touch. I don't know how to thank you, Viv. You don't have to, Vivian said, kissing her temple. Just keep fighting. Vivian too faced her own battles. A high-profile surgery went wrong, and the hospital board questioned her judgment. She came home shaken, her confidence rattled. Elena listened, holding her as Vivian let the tears come. I'm supposed to be the strong one, Vivian whispered. You are, Elena said fiercely. But you don't have to be strong alone. Their love grew in these moments of vulnerability, each challenge knitting them closer. They celebrated small victories. Elena's app cleared of accusations, Vivian's reputation restored. They dreamed of a future together, maybe a house upstate, a place to build a life. But the past wasn't done with them. One evening, Vivian received a letter from Sarah's family, inviting her to a memorial event. It reopened old wounds, and Vivian withdrew, her fear resurfacing. Elena saw the distance in her eyes, the way she hesitated before touching her. Talk to me, Elena urged one night, finding Vivian staring out her apartment window. I'm trying, Vivian said, her voice breaking. But loving you feels like betraying her. Elena's heart ached, but she took Vivian's hands. Sarah's part of you, Viv. I'm not asking you to forget her. I'm asking you to let me love you too. Vivian's tears fell and she nodded, pulling Elena close. They held each other. The city's lights a quiet witness to their healing. The turning point came at the memorial. Vivian asked Elena to come, a step Elena knew wasn't easy. They stood together at the small gathering, surrounded by Sarah's family and friends. Vivian spoke, her voice steady, honoring Sarah's life and love. When she introduced Elena, her hand tight in hers, Elena felt the weight of trust, of love that had fought to bloom. After they walked through the city, the air crisp with autumn, Vivian stopped, turning to Elena. I was wrong that first day in the boardroom, she said. I wasn't mocking you. I was scared off you of what you made me feel. You reminded me I could still want this. Elena smiled, her eyes misty. I never expected you, Viv. Not that night, not now. But I'm so damn glad you're here. They kissed, a promise sealed in the heart of New York. Their love wasn't perfect, it was messy, hard-won, human. But it was theirs. Years later, Elena's app was a lifeline for thousands. Its mission of equity a beacon. Vivian remained a trailblazer. Her surgeries saving lives, her heart open at last. They built a home together. Not upstate but in the city they loved. A place filled with laughter, music, and the scars of their pasts. At a gala celebrating the app's 10th anniversary, Elena took the stage, her voice steady. This started with a dream, she said, her eyes finding Vivian in the crowd. But it became real because of love for each other. For our communities, for second chances. Vivian smiled, her green eyes shining. Later, under the stars, they danced, their hands intertwined. You saved me again, Elena whispered. And you saved me, Vivian replied. Their story wasn't just about love. It was about courage, about fighting for what matters, about choosing to heal. Elena and Vivian had faced their fears, their pasts, and found each other. In a world that could be cruel, they built something beautiful, a love that endured. A legacy that mattered. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.